This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is Ashley Eckstein, Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Coffee with Kenobi show number 515. This is your spoiler-free place for Star Wars community and conversation. I'm your host, Dan Zehr, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. You can support Coffee with Kenobi by following the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok, and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Help spread the word by tweeting that you're listening, share it on Facebook, or invite your family and friends to tune in and share a cup of coffee with us. Coffee with Kenobi is a proud member of the Spreaker Prime program. A big thank you to MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for a no-cost, no-obligation quote. Let them know that Coffee with Kenobi and Dan Zehr sent you at www.coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel. You can join the CWK Alliance for as little as $1 a month and get access to exclusive podcasts, videos, and much more at coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance. On today's show, Ross Hollebon and Mason Zehr join me to talk all about the LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga and give our top 5 things we love about this great new game. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite coffee mug, and let's have some coffee with Kenobi.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Joining us today for a cup of coffee are 2 returning guests to Coffee with Kenobi, albeit with a bit of a twist. First, we're going to bring in from Fantha Tracks. He's got his own podcast now. He's doing all kinds of stuff in the world of Star Wars. Of course, the one and only Ross Hollebon. Ross, welcome back to Coffee with Kenobi.
Dan, how are you? Mason, fantastic to be here with both you guys. So this is super fun and always great to be a part of the CWK family.
That's right. There is a Zehr duo on the show today. Also joining us on the show, he's been on many times. We've done remote shows from Galaxy's Edge, from the Galactic Star Cruiser. We've done some remote things in the house with the different recording devices. But joining us on a formal invitation on his own laptop, in his own studio, the one and only Mason Zehr. Mason, welcome to Coffee with Kenobi.
I'm happy to be here and be doing this with you guys and talking about the saga. I just love that.
It's going to be a lot of fun, buddy. Well, you're off to a really great start. So I think overall, gentlemen, Star Wars LEGO The Skywalker Saga is one that we're very, very excited about for a very, very long time. Mason, what did you think, pal, when you first saw the trailer for this thing?
When I first saw the trailer, I thought this game is going to be great detail. I'm going to like the planets. I know I'm going to like how the map is laid out because I liked how I saw the map. And I just knew it would be a great game.
Yes, absolutely. And Ross, what about you? I know you're an avid gamer. Now, the LEGO series is a bit different than your Battlefronts of the world and Fortnite and whatnot. But I think that's a good thing. What were your thoughts when you saw the trailer, knew this was coming out?
That all the time they took on it paid off. So that was the big thing. You know, it was something where, when is this coming out? When is this coming out? And I think it shows that it can be worth the wait sometimes. And I think they've shown that here.
I agree. I mean, I instantly thought, we've seen most of these worlds besides The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. We've seen all of them in LEGO formats in one way or another on video games. And they've always been fun. We've had fun as a family playing them. So I wasn't sure what to think, but I was excited because, oh, cool, we'll get to see some new twists on some familiar themes. And then I watched the first trailer and I laughed a lot, which is not a surprise with LEGO. I knew it was going to be fun. I had no idea how much fun it was going to be, which is why on today's show, we're going to be talking about the top 5 things we love about LEGO Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. And Mason had a great idea to start off. Mason, give us your overall thoughts on the game, just overall what you think about it, and then give us a letter grade.
My overall thoughts on the game is one of my favorite things in the game is how much detail on the planets they did. And just the detail throughout everything, like the characters and how they make it happen. Yeah. And I would give it an A+.
So you absolutely love it?
Yes.
Absolutely. Oh, cool. That's a pretty high mark, an A+. Ross, what about you?
Yeah, I thought they crushed it. It's so fun. Like, I feel like Mason's age because of this game. Like, it is taking me back to that of, and I was explaining to him a little bit earlier. He's like, "Oh, how many planets have you gone to and stuff?" I'm only like original trilogy so far because I'm taking so long in each location because I was like, "Oh, I want to see this. What is this around Tatooine? What is this around, the different places and playing with it in that regard?" And then, getting to Hoth and growing up with The Empire Strikes Back being your favorite movie and things like that. It's super fun. So I'm going to give it, it's hard to give out an A plus ever, but I think this gets that A plus from me. Like, it makes me feel good and it is fun and you get lost in it.
You do. I love it. Okay. I'm at this weird place, and maybe it's because at first I was playing it on a smaller screen, but then we put it into the bigger TV, so it was a little bit easier. It was a little bit tricky when I first started playing as far as what's doing, where to go, but they've changed the gameplay a little bit on it, which I really like, because before, when I would play other games with Mason, his character would go one way and I pretty much had to follow him, or I had no idea what was going on necessarily. But on this one, I feel like you can completely diverge and do your own thing. You've got a lot more autonomy, whether you're playing, one person or with the split screen. I guess Marvel did that too, but for some reason, this just seems more like, hey, there's actually stuff for me to do besides follow my son all over the place, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But you want everybody to have the same kind of fun playing. So I'm going to give it a good strong A, like a 94.4%. That's pretty good. That's really, really good.
And that's probably, Dan, where I was going. Like, naturally, I want to stay in there to give a little bit of room for something more.
Right.
But yeah, that plus, I think Mason pushed me over the edge, seeing his excitement about it, and I was like, you know what? If he's excited, and kids his age are excited that much about it, like that just warms me up. Like, that's awesome.
Oh, look, if we're giving it a grade on playing with Mason, it's an A plus times Infinity Stones. That part is the best part. And we're going to definitely get to that quite a bit. So we love it. We're giving it high marks. We're not going to spoil a lot of things per se as far as how to do things. We're going to talk about highlights of things that we enjoy and things like that. But I feel like you could listen to the show and still get as much enjoyment out of the game as whether you listen or not. So Mason, we're going to start with you. What is your number 5?
My number 5 is in The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke gets back from outside in Hoth and he gets back to the base, when the probe droid is coming in and a guy says, "You have a guest," and he's dressed up like a pizza guy with pizza and he has a mustache and a hat.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later too, but yeah. You haven't lived until you've seen a probe droid disguised as a pizza delivery driver. And just the fact that Hoth allows a stranger into Hoth to deliver pizzas is pretty great in and of itself. That's a good start, Mason. Really good start.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, Ross, you're number 5.
Well, I'm gonna start very geeky with this, and maybe Corey will appreciate this as well. But just the UX and the user interface of the game, and being able to, you almost feel like you're in one of the control rooms on Yavin 4, places like that, where it's just like, oh, this is amazing. Like, now I'm shifting this around. And, even when you're R2 and you're trying to line things up correctly at one of the little stations, all of those pieces that really make you feel, and it really is that DNA of Star Wars electronically that we would always see just in passing in the films, but being able to interact with those things it's just super fun, and it takes you into Star Wars.
Yes, it does. The playability and the maneuverability that you can do with this thing, the different options that you have, is just an absolute ton of fun. My number 5 is, I put downloadable characters, right? At the time of this recording, there are certain characters that you're able to download, correct? I mean, I guess I do need to say off the bat that Lucasfilm was very kind to us They gave us a copy of this with all of the downloadable characters. So to be fully honest with you, I'm not sure what is available for release right now and what's coming up down the pipe. So what is available right now, Ross, at the week of release?
So what I have from the I guess whatever the most extensive one was that you could purchase is the Han Solo from the Solo film, and then the Mandalorian. So those two packs, I believe, are out now. And then I want to say the next batch may come out as early as tomorrow.
That's a good question.
But I don't remember.
Not sure what we're allowed to say.
I'm still playing with what I've got. So
I think it said like the 15th, 16th, or 17th. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be right. It's somewhere in this next week, I believe. Another batch comes out, but I mean, just sitting there, and I haven't even used them yet. But downloading, and this builds off of your number 5, Dan. It is that seeing, oh, here's Mando and Grogu and the characters from Mandalorian. I love Solo. I'm definitely a make Solo 2 happen kind of person, even if it's a series or something like that. But seeing that and knowing like, oh, is Kira going to be here? Is young Lando going to be here? Things like that. So it's just super fun, and how extensive they made the entire universe.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just, I watched Mason play this, and he said, "Dad, check this out." And I walk in there, and he's using the Mandalorian, and he said, "Look who's following him." And it was, Grogu floating around in a pram, which, come on. I mean, isn't that awesome? You're able to play these games and use some of your favorite characters. And there's going to be a lot more exciting characters coming down the pipe very, very soon. But just knowing that you have that, with the great free play options and all the other things, it's just kind of fun to mix and match. It's almost like you have action figures in the Lego universe, and you're able to kind of play with them all in the Star Wars Lego sandbox. And I just love that feature. It's not a new concept to Lego video games, but it's a heck of a lot of fun when it's Star Wars.
Heck yeah.
All right, Mason, we are back to you for number 4.
My number 4 is also in The Empire Strikes Back on Hoth, when Luke is like waking up when he's like from the Wampa Cave.
Yeah.
And he sees Obi-Wan, but he's a snowman. Then he sees the actual Force ghost of Obi-Wan, which is building a snowman with a hood and a cape.
Well, and it's funny, buddy, because you see the snowman first, but you hear the voice, and you're just like, "Oh, what's going on here?"
Because honestly, when I saw that, I thought, okay, maybe they are going to make Obi-Wan a snowman. Like, I could see Lego doing that.
I thought so too. Like, I was like, oh, this is going to be another funny part. There's just going to be this snowman sitting there talking. That's normal, right?
You're right. And then they pull back. Yeah, right. Exactly. So you never know what kind of silly tricks they're going to pull. But that's great. I love that. I thought that was a lot of fun and really kind of set the stage for me anyway. Okay, Ross. Good job, Mace.
Yeah, great one, Mason.
Ross, back to you for number 4.
So I'm going to say, just from the community building of this, because, we're all about the positivity in the Star Wars universe. Like, if you go visit, my number 4 is the hashtag Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. Because if you go and check that out on Twitter, you're seeing all these screen captures, you're seeing this gameplay, you're seeing people excited about special moments. So, everyone's got their top 5 that's living on social media right now. And as you're seeing it, it was very refreshing for me to just go through and see everyone using this hashtag, being super excited about it. And I know feeling the same way that I do, as I'm not worried about anything else. Like, I'm sorry the dishes are piling up. Like, it is, I'm going to play a little bit longer and I'll worry about those later. But just super fun, because it's those smiles. It's that, and maybe it's celebration coming as well. And this is just like the build point towards that, where it's all just kind of culminating there. So it's, the hashtag and how it's being used in such a positive way with the community right now surrounding this game.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of consternation and frustration with the game. You just hear joy. You just hear joy, and that actually leads in great to my number 4, which is simply humor. Like, this game is funny. The Lego games are usually funny, but this one, like, there were some legitimate moments where Mason and I were laughing out loud hysterically. Like,
I
Mason
couldn't
was,
stop.
yeah, and it was just, the joy of hearing a child laugh, especially when it's one of your kids. There's just nothing like it in the world. So we're playing, we're laughing. I'm looking over and Mason's laying down. He's just hitting the bed laughing while he's playing. It's absolute gold. I mean, if you can have fun and enjoy the Star Wars music and sound effects and do some cool adventure things, but you can also laugh, I feel like that is something that you're not going to, I love Battlefront, but you're not going to be giggling in Battlefront unless Mason is, BB9E that's chasing me and shocking me and sending me off of a ramp or something. But that's only funny for him. That's not
Or
funny
Darth
for
Maul
me.
choking you.
Yeah, or that too.
That destroyed.
So yeah, that's my number 4, humor. Mason, I know the humor is something that you really like too. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is in The Phantom Menace when Qui-Gon is running and he hits down Jar Jar to save him and sort of just to try to get him out of the way. And when his head donks, it goes dun 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 when it donks.
Ooh.
And I just think that's funny.
That is funny. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up because the way we've been playing in our house is Mason by himself has been playing episodes 1, 2, and he's about to start episode 3. And then when we play together as a family, we've been playing the original trilogy. So I've heard bits and pieces of the first 2 episodes, but I've actually played through 4 and 5 with them. So that one is one that Mason has told me about, but I haven't seen yet. So I'm very much looking forward to that for sure. All right, Ross, back to you for number 3.
I'm gonna talk about for number 3 the expanding world of each of these, and I think I kind of mentioned it maybe a little bit earlier, but being on Tatooine and being able to check things out, being on Hoth, and we're going to all these different little bases around to accomplish this goal, and highlight of all highlights for me is, and I broke out the Funko Pop of Han Solo on the Tauntaun behind me because I was just like, I am my favorite figure of all time riding around on a Tauntaun right now from that original movie. And it was just like, I love this so much. And I just want to ride around and, not even worry about, do I have to accomplish this or that? I'm like, what can I do here? Can I do tricks with the Tauntaun? But it does, it puts you in that playful mood, and, Lego knocked it out of the park, and these developers, great job. Thank you all so much.
Absolutely. Another one that leads perfectly into my number 3, which is the Hoth missions. Look, when I played A New Hope, it was fun. It was fun blowing up the Death Star with Mason. That's a sentence you don't say every day. There's a lot of fun aspects of it, but I found myself confused a lot. Then as soon as we played The Empire Strikes Back, the entire thing, like, it's a pretty lengthy experience, that game, just the Empire Strikes Back version. And I was absolutely in heaven. Just the mission at the beginning with the Tauntauns and going to those different radar dishes and activating them so you can strengthen Luke's signal, and then hearing the Wampa from a distance periodically, depending on the checkpoints you got to. Going inside the base, fighting those probe droids. That was just so much fun. And then, I've played a lot of video games where you've had to take down AT-ATs, but this one was extra cool for some reason. Having to use Y on the Switch to fire harpoon, and tow cables, and the tricks of that. And at first I was like, what am I supposed to do now? And Mason's like, follow the circles. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. So if it wasn't for Mason, I probably wouldn't have defeated any AT-ATs. And I think he defeated 3 of them and I defeated 1. I think it went something like this.
Yeah, it was 3 and 1.
Dad, don't do it when I'm doing it. I'm like, all right. So I swoop around, and he takes out 3 at one time while I'm swooping around trying to figure out how to fly a snowspeeder. So I just thought it was so cool. And another cool thing about it is, a little bit of a tangent, is that on all these worlds and all these boards and missions, there are different things they do. Like, we're so familiar with these movies, especially the original 3 for me. And I'm sure, Ross, you're very similar. And it gives you new twists or angles. Like, oh, what if Han Solo did see this? Or what if Obi-Wan Kenobi was doing it from this perspective? Or what if R2-D2 did follow Luke Skywalker to face Darth Vader and Bespin? Yeah, and like, and actually stay with him the whole time. It just kind of gives you some new fun ways to look at the stories. And I love that. I think that whenever you can take something that is so familiar and give it a fresh perspective or a fresh sheen, I think that's absolute gold.
Yeah, it's so fun. And both of you have mentioned the Wampa. The fact that when they're in the cave and, the arm gets chopped off and he puts it right back on is hilarious. Like that's, again, just that building out, but that's kind of tongue-in-cheek fun and all of that good stuff. So it's, I love that, Dan.
Good deal. Mason, anything you want to add before we take a quick break?
No.
Nope. Okay, I do know after we go through our next two, our top two, we've got some honorable mentions as well, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back with more from Ross and Mason about Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. This is Coffee with Kenobi.
This is Vanessa Marshall, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
We are back, and it is hilarious. There's when there's a break, when we're doing this show live, I always do this thing where I kind of bob my head left and right. And without any coaching, that's exactly what Mason did too.
You guys are kind of like those purple monsters on Sesame Street that do the spelling that are connected together.
The yip. That's right. I will take it. All right, Mason, bud. We are back to you. We've given our 5, 4, and 3. We're back to our top two. Give us your number 2.
My number 2 is when Darth Maul turns on his double-bladed lightsaber, and Obi-Wan looks at his lightsaber, and he hits the end, and then he looks right through it, like, what? Can I have 2? Sort of like in Rebels 1.
Oh.
Ezra asked Kanan, can yours do that? From the Inquisitor.
Oh.
That's a
great
good
call
one.
reference. Great call.
See, and again, like the humor part of this is one of the things that has stuck with Mason the most. How was it facing Darth Maul, by the way?
It was, you had to lower his health a few times, but it was actually pretty easy.
Was he easier or Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back?
Both were really easy.
Oh, okay, right on.
Oh,
well, when you
we know who's strong in the Force here, right?
Exactly. And when you faced Darth Vader, you did have me as R2-D2, and I was shocking Darth Vader. I mean, that had to help, right?
It literally made 1 damage every time you hit it. And I literally did 25, so.
Yeah, but who's counting,
but Dan, the big question there is, were you wishing that you were Chopper instead doing that?
Oh, now that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I will say I was glad that Mason was Luke because I knew he could handle it. I probably would have been in trouble.
He probably would have just walked around like, where's Vader? And he's right behind him. Dad, the guy in the black suit.
Oh, that Sith Lord. I see. Nice. Very good. Well, awesome, Mason. I'm looking forward to your number 1. Ross, we are back to you for number 2.
I think with all things Star Wars, so much of it comes back to the audio. And just the genius use and the voice actors they use, the original dialogue, like being able to get into hearing Laugh It Up Fuzzball with the Chewie laugh in there is fantastic. But just the music and how they interact that, but then you're kung fu chopping all these boxes and things to get coins, and you're hearing the Lego noises as well, and they're all kind of melding together, and it's just this celebration kind of. It's almost like breaking a piñata every time you break open one of these things. Like there's music going on, there's the clanging of the coins as you're collecting them, and it's just super fun, and it's a great experience the whole way around for visual and audio.
Right. Mason, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, they're called studs.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's true. Like the 3 of us.
Right. Ding 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 ding. Where's the sound effects? Come on.
Oh man, no sound effects for this one. That is one for sure. That's a good one. Mason is a big fan of the Summer Treats episode of CWK Pour Over. So
I've
he
almost
has
memorized it.
Yeah,
And the first
and
time I
including
listened to it, I said top 5 sound effects the same exact time as Tom did. So
that's true. I remember.
That's awesome.
My number 2 is one that is actually serious. At least to me, it's serious, and that is the intro. When you start this game up, and they play that amazing trailer music from I think from the original Force Awakens trailer, or maybe it's from the Rise of Skywalker trailer. I can't remember, but it's music that they play in trailers that they haven't really played in any movies specifically. It's an absolutely gorgeous rendition. It's haunting. It's beautiful. It's inspiring, and they show these different clips from all the movies. Now they're Lego style, but they're still great action moments, and they're very dramatic. Vader marching in onto Luke, Yoda facing the Emperor in the Senate itself. And then at the end, Rey stands there. I need someone to show me my place and all this. And she's got her yellow lightsaber at the end. And then they pull back, and then it becomes Lego, and like Chewie hugs Han, or Poe and Finn are hanging out. There's just fun little Easter egg thingies happening all around. And it's just very delightful. But, on top of it being Lego and humor and fun little puzzles and great action and great stuff like that, it's still at its core a love letter to Star Wars. It truly is a love letter to Star Wars and the Skywalker Saga. And every time I watch that intro, if I'm walking through the room and Mason's got it on, or it's on YouTube or whatever, I stop and I watch, and I just drink it in, because it's pure bliss to me as a Star Wars fan. All right, Mason, your number 1 thing about Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga that you love.
my 5 to 2 has been funny things, and I don't know. Can you guess if this one is funny or not?
I think I do think it's funny, and I think I know what it is.
Yes, you do. It is when the rebels, I think it's Luke and C-3PO and Leia, they go around the corner, they make a noise on accident, and the stormtroopers say, "What was that? Maybe it was another drill." And C-3PO has a drill, and he goes, "Ram, ram."
And you have quoted that several times, and every time we laugh like it's the first time, don't we?
Yes.
Well,
What
it's
is
like
it that
it's like dad joke central. So
yeah.
and obviously we're enjoying that with our senses of humor and things like that. But loving that Mason and kids are picking up on it as well. It's just such simple fun.
It's great fun, and Mason's got pretty good with those kind of jokes too. I thought Mason could maybe help Lego make the next Star Wars game. What do you think?
Yeah. My honorable mentions actually aren't funny, so.
Okay, well, we will definitely get to
one of
those.
them's funny, but it's not a funny part.
Right. Okay. All right, that sounds like a good tease for what's coming up after we finish our list. I love it. All right, Ross, your number 1 thing you love about Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Drum roll, please.
I'm going to build up again here just with momentum and where things are going, but I really enjoyed being Obi-Wan and going around the Death Star, going around Tatooine, going around him talking to Luke, using the Jedi mind trick, everything along those lines. And then everyone's got very cool, unique attacks that they do. But I felt like Obi-Wan's were like the craziest. And I was just like, I was him as much as I could be, because it was just like, this is nuts. Like, he is a beast right now as the older version of himself. So I don't know, maybe it's Disney Plus and the Kenobi series that's coming up as well. But that really is the part where I was just kind of like, how awesome is this? Like, I feel like a little kid again while I'm playing. And I think that's the biggest part, no matter what character it is. It really is that, taking me back to opening up action figures and playing with them, as a little kid and setting up battles. Now it's all happening on the screen in front of me, and it's awesome.
It gave me a particular jolt to seeing Sir Alec Guinness, the Sir Alec Guinness version of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and seeing him very active with his lightsaber and flipping around doing Jedi things in the entire A New Hope sequence. That was a cool charge. And I'm sure the Obi-Wan Kenobi thing coming out is part of it, but just kind of seeing, we were always excited about, what is it really like when Darth Vader's in his prime? Well, getting to see an older Obi-Wan doing that kind of stuff, even when it's through a Lego lens, is great fun. All right, my number one.
Can we have a drum roll now or no?
Yeah, let's go. My number one is one that we've talked about a little bit throughout, but there's only one number one when it comes to playing a Lego Star Wars game or playing any game, and that is playing it with you, Mason. Playing these games with you. Like I was gonna play it no matter what. I was gonna review it for the show. I like it. I'm a fan, obviously, of Lego and Star Wars and video games. But playing it with you is so much fun because I get to be your dad every single day, and I get to hear you laugh, and you can help me solve puzzles, and I can see how smart you are, and hearing how much you know about Star Wars, and just solving puzzles, and just having that time together as father and son is better to me than anything I could possibly imagine. So, we always say that Star Wars doesn't have a lot of good father figures or father-son dynamics because Luke and Vader's not the best example. Mando and Grogu's a pretty good one, and I think, buddy, you and me are pretty good too.
The reason I'm Grogu is I'm pretty cute, and I have green skin, sort of.
Well, you've got the pram in the garage.
Yeah,
that's right. He follows me around in it all the time. That's good.
Nope.
So, yeah, my number one is playing with you, Mace.
Well, and Dan, that's fantastic. And we know that that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Like it's creating those relationships and those memories and things. But so like, that's where I was so honored when you asked me to do this and you're like, hey, it's going to be me and Mason. I was just like, oh, like this is, that is very heartfelt to me just because I know the relationship that the two of you have, how Mason's become such a huge part of the CWK and Star Wars community as well.
Yeah.
And just tying that all together. So, that is not lost on me. And that is something where, I turned to Monica. I was like, oh, I'm on with the two of them. Like, this is really special. So thank you both for allowing me to join in on this because like, this is a moment for the two of you. And I'm glad I get to be kind of the peanut gallery on the side with it.
Oh man. Well, hey, we love you, buddy. We wouldn't have it any other way. He was equally excited to be on with you. So this is a great thrill for the both of us. Plus, we need someone to keep us in line.
Yeah, I'm great at that.
There you go. Well, Mason, you mentioned a number of honorable mentions, or go ahead and share what else you wanted to talk about with this.
You want to have two, and I do one, Ross does one, you do one, then we do our seconds.
You can just list them all, and we can just talk about them if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my honorable mentions is your number 3 of the Hoth, the first map. On how it's like laid out and how you have to make the signal to Luke and how you climb the towers. I just like that. And then my other one, which is my favorite honorable mention, I probably should have put it higher on my list. Now I think about it, is when you're playing with C-3PO, another character can break him apart and you can play with the top of him or the legs of him. And every time that we were in Bespin and The Empire Strikes Back, I literally played his legs.
Literally, he would say, Dad, follow my legs. And I was like, what? And then so these little tiny C-3PO leg stubs running around. And I'm like, what is he doing?
One time I accidentally reassembled the legs with the body. And I said, Dad, can you press A when you're next to me to break me apart? And he was like, what?
They could run around and be C-3PO's legs. That's right. I forgot about that.
In the attack, I was just like, wah, wah.
You want to hear something great? Apparently, you can be just Han Solo and Carbonite and walk around like a block.
Really?
Yeah. It looks fantastic. I haven't done it yet, but I have seen that as well.
I have a feeling the two of you are going to be doing that quite a bit. Hey, that's good, Mace. Any other honorable mentions?
No.
Those are very good. Ross, do you have any?
I love when there are costume changes. So, and characters are able to put on things. So like as an example, I'll talk about Luke and Leia on the Death Star and being able to get into full stormtrooper armor. And you're sitting there and even just how they put it on. So it's just like, it's a little goofy and fun. So as the stormtrooper helmet's going on, it's like backwards at first. And they're just kind of almost C-3PO discombobulated of, oh, what's going on here? But again, just those simple little things where you have no idea what any interaction is going to turn into. And you talked about the Easter eggs and the little pieces that you find here and there. It's a delight to find them and to see them. And especially if you can replicate them again and be like, oh, this is going to happen again. This is awesome.
That's good. And like the little fun jokes, like all the cracks about Lando's capes, for instance. One thing that I like that I mentioned for my honorable mentions is I like that you can build those barriers and you can use them to hide behind when you're blasting. I like sort of the functionality of, I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but you hold down one of the buttons to hide and you hold up another one to hold up your targets so you can blast away the stormtroopers as they're coming along, or battle droids, or whatever the case may be. I think that's just pretty fun. I just like the notion that there's like a somewhat serious attempt here at strategy in keeping yourself alive, because you have basically unlimited lives, of course. But I just think it's a really, really fun experience to do it that way. Now, a lot of my students, and I teach all seniors, as many of you know listening, they love this game too. But we've been having an interesting debate about which is your favorite all-time Lego video game. I can't yet say if it's this one yet because I haven't finished it all. It's certainly going to be towards the top. But for me, it's going to be really hard to beat the Nintendo Wii Indiana Jones original trilogy game. That was so much fun. And this is too, but I haven't finished it yet. Mason, what about you? I know you've played a lot of them, a lot of Marvel ones. You've done some of the Harry Potters, several of the Star Wars ones, and this one.
I do like this one. I like the Indiana Jones one. But like you said about Indiana Jones, it's going to be maybe a little hard to beat the Marvel one of the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
And like the first three or two, the first two of all of them. And then in free play, it's just super fun, I think.
Is that the one where you can turn into someone that can fly and you can go way up in the sky and go into the helicarrier?
Oh, yeah.
Or change from Banner to Hulk and then just smash each other. That is pretty fun. So that's going to be your favorite one. I mean, they're all good.
Maybe.
They're all,
either that or this, which is probably this.
Yeah, cool. And we can always revisit it once we've all finished it too, and sort of.
And I also like the Lego Force Awakens game for the PS4 that we have, and it also has that barriers that you build and you can.
Good point. Hey, good memory, Mister. You're a natural at this podcast thing. Pretty
good.
Why,
thank you.
Yeah, he traps it all and shares it quickly. Like that is not. He's not even Googling anything. It's just like, oh yeah, I know this.
That's right. Love it. Well, Ross, what about you? Do you have a favorite of the Lego series?
I think it had to be. It was Xbox, and I want to say it was probably 2012 or so. And like, all I hear in my head is the Cantina music, because it was just like, you could spend so much time in there, and that's how you got to different areas. But every time you went in and you're just going around, it's dun, 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 and it's such a jazzed up constant version of it that it's, I think even as I was starting this game and playing this game, and as I get more and more accustomed to it, I'll adapt to the new sounds for it. But I think anytime I start a Lego game, all I hear is the Cantina music at this point, because that was so drilled in my head from playing that so much back in the day.
Oh yeah, and that was the one that just had the 6 movies, right?
The Complete Saga, Star Wars: The Complete Saga was called.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we had that for the Wii, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that game.
Well, yeah, that's a fun game. I was telling Mason, back in my day, when Star Wars video games first came out, the sound effects and music were not from the movies. It wasn't John Williams, wasn't the real sound effects. It wasn't until I think Nintendo Super Star Wars that kind of shifted, at least if memory serves. And that made a big difference because, of course, that creates a whole new atmosphere. Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen. Of course, the two of you did not disappoint. It was great fun. Ross, where can first of all, thank you both for being back on Coffee with Kenobi.
Yeah, thank you. I've honored to be here with Mason, who was the hero on Monday night bringing in the water.
That's right.
It was either at Mary or Ben's request.
Yeah.
but great teamwork by everyone involved there. Like that's what it takes to solve these issues.
That's right. Producer extraordinaire. Mason, thank you, buddy. How'd you like doing it this way, being on the show?
I think that this was fun, and I like sharing my top 5 and just how we talked about the saga.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job, buddy, but I absolutely knew that you would, so I'm very proud of you. Nice job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ross, where can people reach out to you if they want to continue the conversation?
At Ross Hollebon on Twitter. So RossHollebon. So my random last name there. So that for Twitter. And then on Instagram, where it's primarily Star Wars, would be at PopstarIndie. And as you mentioned earlier, a Fantha Tracks article here and there, and other items here and there that, you know, if an opportunity comes up, I like to jump at it and say, oh, how can I contribute here? So even most recently, Colby Meads Colby Cast. So I got to follow in your footsteps and be a guest on there talking our top 10 sports movies. So, you know, just fun. It's pop culture, it's sports, it's a lot of Star Wars and everything else mixed in.
The Colby Cast is great, and I love them, and I'm very selfishly I love them because I'm like, oh sweet, which of my two friends are going to talk today? I know Colby's always going to be on, of course, because it is the Colby Cast, fortunately, but it's like fun for me to see who he's going to talk with. So I loved your part one of your appearance.
Oh, thank you. And I'm enjoying hearing him talk with his kids about you know, different shows, primarily Moon Knight right now, but it's it's cool, and it's a different dynamic. So it's fun, and I'm glad he went for it, and I'm glad you gave him the nudges and help where he needed as well, because I think it's expanding and it's putting good positivity out there.
This is what we want. And Mason, people want to say hello to you. They can just reach out to DNZ at coffeewithkenobi.com. But of course, Mason joins us every single Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time for Facebook Live. Sometimes he makes guest appearances and reviews. Sometimes when I'm choking to death because my throat is dry from talking for an hour straight, he brings me water live on camera. We have lots of fun. Well, thanks again, gentlemen, so much. We truly appreciate your time.
Listening to Coffee with Kenobi, you are, with Dan Z, the podcast you're looking for. This is...
A huge thank you to Ross Hollebon and Mason Zehr for joining me tonight to talk about the top 5 things we love about Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga's brand new video game. And, you know, of course I love chatting with Ross. He is just a good man and a good member of the CWK Alliance and the Star Wars community at large. But a hashtag proud dad moment. I'm so proud of my son Mason. He's so smart and clever, and he's just a natural on the mic. So as a Star Wars fan, it's great to be able to share this with him. And just as a dad, these are the kind of time capsule moments that I'm glad I get to share with all of you. So thank you so much for being a part of this with us as well. I'd also like to thank MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, a great place to go to help plan your magical vacation to Galactic Star Cruiser, Galaxy's Edge, the theme parks, cruise lines, Star Celebration, and so much more. You can go to www.coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel for a no-cost, no obligation quote, and be sure to let them know that Dan, Zehr, and Coffee with Kenobi sent you. If you're going to Celebration Anaheim next month on May 26th at 7 o'clock p.m., there's a Celebration podcast meetup at the Hilton Anaheim Mixed Lounge. Many of your favorite podcasts will be there. Come meet them. Be sure to say hello to me, Tom, and Corey. It's always a great, great time. Speaking of great times, every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, as I mentioned earlier in the show, you can join us on CWK Live at www.coffeewithkenobi.com/live. It is a place to chat Star Wars Rebels because we've been going through and rewatching Star Wars Rebels and get your top 5 ready. And what's great about that is besides being on Facebook Live, it's replayed later on YouTube and on Instagram. And then the audio feed, of course, is here on Coffee with Kenobi's podcast feed. And you, friends, will be a part of the show every single week if you join us live. It's so cool. Speaking of cool, CWK Cafe's Facebook group at www.cwkcafe.com That coffeewithkenobi.com/community is a great place to go for Star Wars thoughts, comments, reviews, and opinions in a family-friendly, spoiler and drama-free place. If you've heard about me talking about the CWK Alliance, that's because Coffee with Kenobi is possible because of the members of the CWK Alliance. Thanks to you, the podcast, Facebook Live, event coverage, and so much more comes to life. Find out how you can help the show for as little as $1 a month by joining the CWK Alliance, and you will get access to CWK Prover, an exclusive weekly audio and video podcast not heard anywhere else. Go to www.coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance to find out more. And 10% of your monthly contributions will go directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. Be sure to go to our website at www.coffeewithkenobi.com for Star Wars news, announcements, reviews, videos, and so much more. You can email me at danz@coffeewithkenobi.com. Connect with me on Twitter at Mr. Zehr, MRZEHR, on Instagram at DanZehrCWK, and on LinkedIn. Coffee with Kenobi is, of course, all over social media, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. Give the show a like on Facebook at facebook.com/coffeewithkenobi. Subscribe to Coffee with Kenobi's YouTube channel as well. Please take a couple of minutes to rate and review the show on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. And go to our TeePublic store for www.coffeewithkenobi.com/shop. danzmedia.com is where you can go if you want to start a podcast or a blog or expand your existing brand. I'm also available to come to your school, conference, business, or organization to talk about how to tap into your strengths and help you bring out your very best. In the last couple of weeks, I've been to Bradley University and Illinois State University talking to different business classes, entrepreneur classes, and actually podcast classes. And it's been great doing that. If you'd like me to come to your school, your conference, or your business, as I mentioned, let me know at danzmedia.com. We can get that process started. A huge thank you again to Ross and Mason for joining me here on Coffee with Kenobi. I got some great surprises for you next week, talking with a current Star Wars author about a brand new book that's coming out that you are sure to want to check out. And then after that, it's time to go full on into Star Wars Celebration Anaheim coverage as Corey, Tom, and I go on the road to Celebration with all of you. And if you listen to CWK Live this week, you know that next Monday I am going to debut the brand new Coffee with Kenobi logo. I can't wait to share with you and explain the creation of this thing, and I'm going to have the designer himself, Corey Clubb, joining me on Facebook Live to debut the new logo. And oh man, I'm just really excited for it. You're going to see it everywhere. Strap in, everybody. It's going to be one heck of a ride as we head to Lightspeed and check out this brand new logo next Monday night. Have a great week and weekend. Happy Easter, everybody. And remember, this is the podcast you're looking for.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here. Move along. Move along.